And in the end, the love you make is equal to the love you take. And then, bow, bow. What's going on, everybody? Every day I'm fish researching. How goes it? How are we doing? How am I doing? I don't even know how I'm doing. I'm wired today. I didn't want to repeat of being so tired because I've been having some autoimmune issues and having like hives and all sorts of problems. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to get a whole triple shot of caffeine. I don't normally drink more than like a single cup or a single shot. And so this might be a little unhinged. Caffeine is like a strong substance for me because I don't usually utilize it. Now, I will say that I am sick and tired of these snakes on these I'm sick of the background here. I really want to take the background and like show that room and the aquariums, or like a cork board with some maps and stuff. But my house is so small. We have literally the living room, the fish room, and right now, eventually that can be arranged for that purpose. But it's so loud with all the pumps and the humidity and all that. I didn't want the laptop in there. Anyways, I just feel like I want to give you guys more to look at, more doodads. It's more eye-catching when people are scrolling through, and it's not as stark as when they're like, get a load of his lame map of Paris from the 1700s or whatever. What does that have to do with fish? The cat is going insane. It turns out she had a UTI, and we got that fixed, and now she is like just happier than a cat without a UTI. No, she, is going nuts though. She's running all over the house. She's going talking a storm up. So if you see her, if she hops up on here, or if I have to like step away to grab her off the router or whatever, sorry ahead of time. But oh, holy smokes, we got a gift coming in already from the notorious JOHNNY. Johnny, my boy, my friend, my pal. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, buddy. You never expected, always appreciated. But you gave someone the gift that keeps on giving. So if you are doing this, this also is in my community section. I always post more for members as far as like unlocked research papers, stuff like this Shoal PDF, which is public for now, but a lot of times they lock them later. Or you have to be a member of you have to be someone who's donated to Shoal before to get access to some of this stuff. And so, yeah, I like to share it. I don't know. Someday I might get called out and they'll be like, your live stream, you saw 300 people. That's 320, 300 times $40 each. We want the money, Lebowski. But until that happens, I'm going to keep on cracking it and sharing through the paywall and stuff when I get the chance to, especially when the authors are like, go for it. Anyways, 3G member for 35 months, looking around, saying hello. Hey, how you doing? Outside in Aquatics, hey y'all, what is up? Cat feeling good? Radina, what's up? Monster Fish Scout, what's going on? Good to see you, Lori. Also, what does that say? Cat Gore? Hello. Wicked freaking Aquatic, hello, and JP Jeffries, hello again. Also Johnny, of course, I said hello, but hello again. Who else is in here? Zombie Cat, what's up? GS9, what's up? And who else is hiding? Ollie the pufferfish, hi, driving home. Hope your aquatic pets are doing well. Yeah, they're doing good. Robert Bennett, what's up? How are you? Hope you're doing well. Andy Carson, Cosman, Linda Worth, Cassandra. Who else is hiding? Who else is be hiding on there? We've also got Dory Bailey. Can't forget Dory. Can't forget Cece's Aquascapes. What's up? And Chris in the Desert. Yuyo. Nancy B from Tennessee. Jody P. Nancy B from Tennessee and Jody P. And what's with me? Sean Nunez, what's up? Or Nunes, I'm guessing Nunez. What's going on? And man, we got quite a few people in here. Phoenix Star, hello. And Fishberg, hello. Thomas R. White, hello. And Curdy, what's up? All right, guys. So today I wanted to bust out the stuff from Shoal, which is pretty exciting. Let me just pull it up so you guys can get a little taste of it. Judy Dawn Smith, hello as well. We have so many, and Heavyweight Champ, hello, good to see you. You know, we have so many members of the channel. Like, don't feel obligated. I know, like, money is insane right now, and everything's about to go up with the tariffs and stuff. I'm not getting into any of the politics of it, whether you like it, hate it, love it, whatever. The fact remains that things are probably going to hurt for a little while. It's going to go up before it gets better, before hopefully we can switch to some American production. I would appreciate the American production. But there are companies like Extreme that already make all their fish food in America and source their stuff in America. So their prices shouldn't be changing by 20% or 10% or 50 or whatever they want. The problem I've always found with whether it's a tax increase due to like Obamacare, or whether it's a city or municipal tax increase, or whether it's like a tariff and like fruit goes up or something from some, you know, tropical country, whatever it may be. If the price goes up and it needs to go up like 20%, if they say like, okay, there's now a 20% tax on all of this, of course the company is going to have to tax 20% onto the customer or somewhere along the production line, but probably the customer. But I've noticed that, like, without fail, they will also try to get to their quarterly earnings, which may be hindered by the fact that things are, you know, in flux. They'll usually change the price like 21.5% or something like that. And then they'll try to eke out that 1.5% gain and hope that nobody noticed. During the Affordable Care Act rollout, everybody did that in the medical health world, like where everything was, you know, workplaces were cutting hours, and like usually you needed 40 hours for like medical or whatever. They'd schedule you 35 or 38 instead of the 40. And like a lot of places use it as a way to clean house or a way to you know, make people part-time rather than having to pay the benefits. And then of course everyone's going to blame the boogeyman of the tariff. So whether or not it's fair, everyone's going to blame everything on this kind of stuff, and they're probably going to be adding you know, an extra 5 to 10% on top of whatever is required. It wouldn't surprise me. So just get remember, just get ready for that and remember what I say. Let's see here. It's nothing new. Prices will never stay the same forever. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a bag of potato chips that cost 50 cents now nearly $2. No, how about like soda in Seattle? So soda has an extra tax that's supposed to go to, like, I don't know, teeth or something. I really don't know what the sugar tax goes to. But I mean, a 20-ounce bottle of soda that used to be 2 for $1 store when I was in college, so 15 to 20 years ago. It is, you know, inflation should maybe double every 10 years at like, you know, we're 7% a year or something like that. So maybe 15 years. But regardless, now a bottle of soda in Seattle is $2.99 for a 20 ounce, and like a 2 liter is like $3.50 or $4.99, like somewhere in there, depending on sale prices. It is absolutely bonkers. And yeah, a 20 ounce is like, yeah, $5 totally if it's in a downtown area or like near a sports stadium or something. So um, hopefully we'll get through all this, you know. Yeah. Thank you, Johnny. Another gifted membership. So nice of you. We've got more people now that can go to the community tab, get those extra episodes. I did a live stream just for members the other day. I'm trying to do more of those in the future, especially like off the cuff ones where we can just talk about things like the recent Betta article that, like, that stuff always gets demonetized, always gets me in trouble. I've noticed when we do it for members, I can say whatever they beep I want, and it's okay. So we'll kind of use that time probably as the not safe for work joking around kind of streams. Or also, a lot of people have spoken and said, they want to acknowledge, their journey through sobriety or through PTSD or working through things, and using the aquarium hobby as a very a very positive force in their life. And just the fact that they have a place to come, and you don't need to talk about those things necessarily, but that if you wanted to, you could break away from the main chat and whatnot. And here we have a community of supportive and friendly people. And whether you pay for a membership or you're just here watching, it doesn't matter. Like, please feel free to utilize either the free Discord stuff or the Facebook, or messaging each other or commenting with each other, whatever, commenting in the comments. I love seeing that. We have some really, really intelligent, some really compassionate people here, whether it's advice on, how to do this or that in the fish room, or how to breed this or that, or what's going on with this disease. Y'all beat me to the punch half the time now. And that makes my heart so warm to know that, like, we're being supportive in this community. And when someone who's maybe a little newer comes in and like 5 of y'all know the right answer, you all chime in. And there might not be like one like perfectly right answer, but I will tell you, when somebody responds below, almost never do I have to read that and be like, I wouldn't do that. I'd say that you need to do this. Like, I might have something to add, but really most of the time you guys nail it. And sure, I have a bias of how I like to do things, and how to cure ick. Sure, we could go the chemical route, or you could go the temperature route and the kind of naturalistic route. I prefer the little more naturalistic usually, but at the end of the day, like, as long as we're doing things where your fish is not coming out harmed, I think it's awesome. So, hey, Alex, do you think Moonlight Aquatics will ever bring in more rice fish? Oh, I know they will. Yeah, 100%. And I have it on good authority that if you want rice fish, for instance, from them, and you tell me, I can make that happen. Is there a kind you're looking for? Honestly, though, his sources are in mainland China. So I'm curious to see how prices will be affected, because he had like a backroom deal, kind of sweetheart deal with some of his connections overseas, Hong Kong and mainland China, where he was getting some really cool, very unique stuff. And I don't know 100% if he'll have that, like, massive competitive edge. But I will tell you, he is Moonlight Aquatics, and using the code Fishtory10 is still going to get you the 10% off. And he is a guy who, if prices go up 20%, he's going to only probably raise them like 18%. He's one of the few out there who wants to be competitively low, wants to, if people are saying like, I'd quarantine it myself, if I could get it for 30% less than having you quarantine it and feed it and do this and this and this, he's a person who listens to that. Or I'd send the shrimp 2-day priority rather than just overnight. He's a very he seems very attuned to the price aspect of this. Whereas like Dan's fish, love him, but he is more attuned to the ethics and at all costs, the quality and the ethics of the fish's experience as well. So different strokes for different folks, but I can appreciate both of them. Great places to source stuff. I think Aquatic Arts should be getting some more rice fish soon as well. And you can get 15% off with my code there. I know they just got a bunch more of the colorful Amano shrimp in. Really cool stuff. And they're trying to get more of the mid-sized species like Jack Dempsey's and Oscars and angelfish and stuff like that. That gets a little bigger. They're kind of moving into that range a little bit too, just because of who the new owner is. But they will continue all the nano stuff as well. Thomas R. White says, your advice has helped me breed Betta. Right on. Now I have a Betta community tank with 2 males, 3 females, and a heavily planted 30-gallon. I am ready to add 2 more females. They are getting along, doing great. Oh, right on. That's great to hear. Remember, in that new study, they even cite an old study that I hadn't seen before, but I truly believe it, which said that 1 in 15 of the male bettas that they select for research is so aggressive that they can't put it with any fish ever. Like, it doesn't even want to mate, and yet there were about 3 fish in every 15. I don't know why they use 15 as the denominator, whatever, but 3 ended up being so docile that they wouldn't fight back when a male was picking on them at all, like another male. So the average of a betta is territorial when spawning, and it needs at least about half a meter-ish. So maybe 20, let's say 20 inches, 16 inches of space around it without other males intruding. And if you block the lines of sight, you got females, you got ditherfish, you got plants. As long as you know your fish and you don't put any of those ones that are super aggressive in there, if you're noticing that behavior, avoid that. You can do some pretty cool stuff. And then when it's time to spawn, you just pull them out of the community tank, put them in their spawning tank. And then when they lay the eggs, pull the parents out. You can put them back in a community tank. You can put them in a cool down tank of another sort, whatever. But I think that's a great way to do it. That's how I have the most fun doing it. And especially with wild bettas, they're so much more peaceful than like the usual type. All right, I'm going to answer a couple more little questions here, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of new species found last year. All right, what about a specific color betta? I've been searching for months for a specific female after I lost one. What about it? There's places that let you pick. Like what you see is what you get kind of thing. I think there's like, quite a few betta breeders online right now, and eBay is still up for the moment. So yeah. Cat Gore says, "Oh, I'm from Hong Kong. What is the advantage you mentioned?" Oh, just Hong Kong has a wealth of new and interesting fish. A lot of times, China and Hong Kong allow the trade of animals, specifically fish, birds, stuff like that, and reptiles that don't have Latin names yet. And so they really don't have a problem with the ornamental hobbyists. And because of that, you can get your hands on stuff like Borneo loaches that have no name yet, just have a number, no Latin name. They're beautiful, interesting new fish and stuff. Maybe sometimes they don't even know how to take care of them. Like there's no guide in the hobby, yet written for them. And those are the kind of things a lot of times he gets from Hong Kong, and he has family, I believe, in Hong Kong and in mainland China, but they're in the business. So basically, I'm just saying it's that and Singapore and Bangkok, Thailand. Those are the places that literally they've got mile-long markets with just nano fish or just koi and goldfish in one stretch, and then another one's just arapaimas and giant monster fish, and another one's just bettas, So it's just a pretty cool place. And if you have access to that, prices are low. Now, most people bring that stuff into the US and they try to raise the price to the best price they can get, to whatever the market says. And I was just saying that Moonlight Aquatics, he doesn't set prices by the market. He sets prices by what he feels is fair with the price he paid. So it's not like, oh, everyone else is selling these for $10. I got them for $2, landed and everything. So I'm going to sell them for 10 also because I can. No, he's actually a guy who would rather be known as the guy who's got the good deal and the same quality fish. And, it costs $4 or whatever, $5 instead of 10. And I appreciate that angle. I also appreciate Dan's as well, where he hires a veterinarian and spends all the extra money and puts them each in individual containers all the time and pads them, little bubble boy fish. That's there's an aspect of that that's cool too. I really want the Maha Chiensis Betta is so beautiful. Yeah, they are great. I love them. That's where the alien Betta come from as well, partially. Let's see here. Alex newly introduced Nerite snail is not moving often for a week since you put him in, huh? Make sure that your water's not too acidic. Make sure that it's at least 6.8 or so, and that there's a little bit of hardness to it, a little KH, a little GH, or like TDS of 100 or so. A lot of times they get sluggish like that when there's not enough hardness in the water. Also, make sure that it's not too hot or not too cold, somewhere between 72 Fahrenheit and 84 Fahrenheit, something like that. And that there's something for them to eat, put some spirulina wafers or Hikari algae wafers, something like an algae wafer that has spirulina in it on the ground and see if they eat it. They love that, so they should eat it. And if that's the case and they're not eating other algae, it may just be that they don't eat like slimy algae and black beard algae, stuff like that. They only really eat the diatom algae and kind of a little bit of algae that grows on plants and things just when it's real short and soft still, then they'll eat that as well. All right, let's see here. Thomas White says the two males have a clear dominance relationship. One stays like, okay, blah, blah, blah. If you guys need to say something, just at me. At Fish3, it really helps. Very cool though, Dory, going down to the Withlacoochee River or forest to get some least killies and gambusia. I'd love to. I need to get some more least killies. I've got 3 in my room right now. But hey, Andrew, good to see you. You finally made it. Cool. But yeah, I'd love to get back down to Florida. It's been over a year now, and I was making a trip every 4 months to Florida for a while there, and so I need to get back down there. As soon as I'm cleared to fly with my leg and the blood clots and stuff, I would love to do that. Darters, you want to keep the water oxygenated. Ideally, you want to keep it cooler or room temperature, and mostly just keep it really oxygenated and try to feed them live food if you can. Try to get mosquito larvae, try to get, Daphnia, brine shrimp, stuff like that. Make a huge difference with your darters. Even like aquatic isopods, they really like all that kind of stuff too. Yeah, I don't know about your snail heavyweight. They are slow movers. What I would look at is the glass too, and see if there's little zigzags that look like a zipper mark where it's been eating. And also look at it closely when it's on the glass, and just make sure that you see the tiny little things. But make sure you see one doing this, the other doing this. They take turns with their little teeth. They have beaks, and they scrape off the algae that way off the glass. So yeah. Question: any other wild betta species do I almost recommend all wild betta species. I would say that the macrostoma and the macrostomas mean pretty much okay. Any of the species that are under a maximum of 2.5 inches are worth giving it a go, is my thought. The macrostomas and the Megopterus or Megoptera, and then the compuncta, and there's a couple of them. A lot of times, if they've got a mouth that hinges down, so if you're looking at the side of their mouth and it has a hinge like this, so that it looks like a bulldog mouth that's kind of aimed up at the surface of the water, and they have a big head with a big neck, like it's not kind of a slender form fish, it's more of like a blocky looking betta. Those ones tend to be a little more aggressive, tend to be a little bigger, fighting and stuff like that. But I think Maha chiensis, Siam ornamentalis, I think rubra, bettas, oppies. What else have I had that I've had a lot of fun with? Imbolus are great. Stictos are another great one. There's so many. I mean, there's like 100, but yeah, most of them I would recommend. Other than like macrostomas are one that I would not keep unless you've kept a lot of them before. All right, guys. Oh wait, if Thomas White says, if you have a moment, I value your opinion on my tanks as your videos inspired me. Oh, cool. Well, thank you. I'm honored, Thomas. Let's see here. Do you have a channel I can check out? Is it just Thomas White, or I can't check out anything right this second, but yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I think you're right. Wicked freaking Aquatic. I agree that a lot of the mouth breeders are kind of meanies. Yeah, that's true. They really are. Thoughts on a pair of Betta unimaculata? I wouldn't put them in a oh yeah, that's another great one. Is the Cochina or Cocina, however you say it. They're a really cool one. I would also say thoughts on Una maculata. I've kept them. They are prone to jumping and stuff, and they might be a little territorial. So the thing is, great to keep them in a community tank if you got like a 20 long or a 40 breeder or something like that. That would work out fine. But those do get a little bit longer, a little bit bigger than some of the other ones, and I would say they're more on the slightly aggressive side, but at the same time, I've had them live together and do fine and actually stay together and colony breed and like not eat all the babies. I removed the babies at maybe 3 or 4 weeks anyways, just to let them, just so I could like power feed them and not dirty up the smaller tank kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, that might not be the best first one, but at the same time, I don't think it's like unattainable or anything like that. Stephen Situ says macrostoma and tunta from the unimaculata are pretty big and require more space. Yeah, resting periods in between. They also breed a lot and produce large batches. All great points, guys. People are just nailing it tonight. I appreciate you guys so much for chiming in where you guys know what's up. I know I said that I was going to be doing the Shoal new species, and I will, but I just wanted to get to, y'all showed up, y'all came out, you're here asking questions. I wanna answer questions. I'm getting labiagastromyzon, chantang, and pseudogastromyzon laticeps. Oh, so cool. Jody P. Those are incredible freaking fish. Those are the hill stream loaches that have the kind of yellow and purple on their dorsal and tail fins. They are beautiful. And then they have like a maze pattern on their head, sometimes some spots, and then some like zebra stripes. Ooh, they are probably my favorite right now, like as far as a low in the tank fish. They're one of my all-time favorites. Plus, they are really cute. They're really social. They're really expensive, but they're so cool. Dan's Fish has had them a couple times. Moonlight Aquatics has had them a couple times. He just got in some new pseudogastromyzon. All the gastromyzon, pseudogastromyzon, the microgastromyzon, there's another, if it has gastromyzon and then some other prefix, if it has gastromyzon in it, it usually means that it is a like you would expect, like a loach, that like the butterfly loach or the hill stream loaches or the reticulated loaches that kind of look like a little stingray or a little lizard loach. And they're usually from either Borneo, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea. And now there's a few from China. They're not usually gastromyzons. They're another 3 other genuses, but all of them really peaceful, really fun. I really like them, definitely. Johnny, holy smokes, guys, that is wild. Johnny, man, thank you, buddy. I have to tell you this one real quick aside, because boy, do I feel dumb. Johnny, thank you, man. And I don't know, you are so supportive of this channel. I really hope you're getting a lot from the channel, because man, you help us out, which then in turn allows me to keep making content, keep doing things, buy new fish, whatever. And it's been a struggle lately because I haven't been grinding with, the health stuff. But I'm trying, you guys make my health better when I get to, do this full time. Like there's no way I'd be on disability, honestly, with all the issues I'm facing right now. I have like 4 doctor's appointments every single week that are scheduled. And then now I also have like other ones in between that. But anyways, I don't want to go down that rabbit trail. But my point is, it gave little super chats, even $1 here or there, give the channel some room to breathe. So I appreciate it. Don't expect it at all. I know everybody is facing tough times, so do not feel obligated. But thank you. But what I was going to say is, it comes at a good time because Alex is a super dum-dum. And basically, well, I'll show you also. People were asking how my foot was doing. And it's pretty crazy. So I'm going to warn you now, if you're easily grossed out, look away. It's not like blood and gore or anything like that. It's nothing that I think YouTube would be upset about or anything like that. I'm just going to show you guys the puncture wound in my foot, how it's healed. The problem was they put a drain on the wound and they didn't install it right, and it didn't drain. It just held water against my ankle, and my ankle looked like that. And that is a 1-inch deep puncture wound right to the bone. That's usually all wrapped up. It's wrapped up right now. And it hasn't healed because when they did the surgery, they didn't do things right. And there were a bunch of rocks and glass stuck in there. And they cut open my leg looking for infection elsewhere and totally overlooked the actual wound. And I don't want to say too much about it, but there's a good chance that there's going to be me trying to overturn having to pay some of this money, because a lot of it is just the fact of their negligence or their not listening to me when I said there are rocks under my skin, and they're like, may feel like that. It's just a little bit of residual swelling. Well, then 3 months later, literally 5 rocks pop out of my skin and it's all infected again. Stuff like that. It's bad. So anyways, I'm not going to talk about this much longer, but I wanted to say it's doing a little bit better. The wound, it still looks like dark. That's because they put silver nitrite on it. But now it just looks like a hole in the callus of the foot. But I got out of my car and I have a walker right now. I use a walker for most of the time. And my truck, I didn't even know this could happen. My truck was, I pulled up to my house and my truck was still in what I thought was park. And it started rolling back and my keys weren't even in the ignition anymore. And all of a sudden, my truck started, this was yesterday, my truck started rolling backwards. And I was like, what the heck? And we barely live on a hill, but it was enough that it must have been rolling back. And I was like, what is going on? I'm like, and so I'm trying to I'm standing outside the truck with the door open and I'm leaning across the truck and I'm trying to shift it to make sure it's in park. And I'm like, why isn't it stopping? And then I've got the foot brake for the emergency brake in a truck. So I'm trying to reach down and do that while steering it so that it doesn't go into the ditch in front of the house or out into the street or whatever. Well, while all that's going on, it started to go faster and faster and faster. And I can't run. I'm one-footed. So I'm literally hanging off the door with one arm, trying to steer. And then for a second, I grabbed this other thing. And then I basically had to bail from the truck. I just dropped and tried to get away from the truck so it didn't hit me. It did end up running over my foot, but luckily it was just on soft gravel and the tires on my truck are, fairly big. So it hurt a little bit. It wasn't a big deal. But yeah, the truck then rolled down the street. And what had happened was the gear shift cable apparently snapped or came undone, came unsecured. My buddy, who's a mechanic for Ford, he works for a Ford dealership, lives next door, came over and was like, oh my gosh, what happened? Because I took out a row of my own mailbox and his. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I took out mailboxes, both of our mailboxes. And felt like a total idiot, looked like a total idiot, spun the whole thing around. Luckily, was able to remount all of that. But long story short, I almost ran myself over with my truck. It felt like the dumbest thing I've ever done because it was a slow motion catastrophe, but I just couldn't run out of the way with the way, right now I'm limping and I'm using my little tennis balls on the walker kind of thing to stable myself because I can't put any weight on that ankle. They say every 5 minutes I put weight on my ankle is another day it sets me back for healing. So pretty crazy. Anyways, thank you, Johnny, buddy. I really do appreciate that. And also, I'm going to read this. I learned so much from you in this hobby since I found you back when you were a young and full of energy doing 1 hour contents. Yeah, back before I edited anything with visuals, all my stuff was an hour or more long, a lot of the videos, because I just wanted to nail home the details. And now, yeah. Hello from Ukraine, dude. I wanted to say thank you very much. Great, simply amazing contents. Wow. Pathogen. I was supporting the caves being created in Ukraine during 2015, 16, 17. I am a strong believer. I know this is politics again, but I have no shame. I think that we should stand with Ukraine. What has gone on there is a travesty. There's no defending what Russia did. And the civilian lives that have been destroyed, changed, tormented. It's so sad. And I know so many great aquarists, aquascapers, angelfish breeders, ram and episto breeders that are from Ukraine that I knew before all this stuff started. And as it's unfolded and as it got worse in 2022, And I'm so amazed that some of you guys, like in the haunts and stuff, are still even breeding fish and carrying them out through Poland. So you guys are so resilient there. Keep up the fight. Keep up doing what you're doing. That's all I have to say. I don't want to get too deep into it, but what happened the other day, are I felt sick to my stomach watching everything go south so bad. I'm not going to get into it any more than that. But yeah, I don't want anybody to feel excluded here, but I think it's safe to say Russia's a bully, and I will not be quiet about that. Even though we're a fish channel, it has impacted the fish hobby. It has impacted our friend who was making Ukraine, or I can't remember how you're supposed to pronounce it. I feel bad, but he was making ceramic caves out of Ukraine, and he made really unique pleco caves that would like go up at the end and that like had texture just like plants, and he'd press leaves into them and stuff. Very cool stuff. He had to stop for a while, and they kept trying to make them, and like people wanted to give money and donate and all this stuff, and he was like, no, just buy my product and I'll keep making it, and I'm going to put proceeds towards my country's struggle. And I was so inspired by that, and by all the people breeding in the middle of all this madness. You got people breeding with, when you can't even assure power sometimes. So I just want shout out to you from Ukraine. Thank you, you guys, for coming and chilling. I hope we can provide a little bit of an escape, so that we're not all in this. Yeah, the history between Ukraine and Russia is very bitter. I'm a history major, went into anthropology, but I could talk for 3 or 4 hours about how the Kievan Rus and back to the 9th century, it's been established. It's one of the oldest nation states in the world. It was the headquarters of Russia and Russian culture and the Eastern Orthodox Church. And how in 1999, Putin, and then again in 94 before that, had plans of how he wants to unify all of that. He wants Georgia, he wants South Ossetia, he wants Transnistria, he wants, Lithuania and part of Poland. All of that he wants back. He wants Kaliningrad back. It's not a secret. He's very open about it. And he's just been like, yeah, that's what I wish I could have, and there's a lot of imperial Russianists, czarist Russians really, that want to see that former size and everything. And it's scary. There needs to be a line drawn on what's going to happen. Because at this point, the culture, there's nothing wrong with being Russian. You can have that culture and be in the country of Poland or whatnot. But at this point, moving national lines is going to cost many lives. And so let's not do that. All right, guys, I'm done with that. I don't want to get into this. I know in my country right now, somehow it's become like controversial to say that Russia invaded Ukraine and that was bad. What? I don't know how we got that turned around. It makes me sick. My grandfather, who fought the Nazis and then met the Russians in Berlin, yeah, he'd have something to say about all this. And he was a lifelong Republican. So yeah, let's talk about these fish, though. I'm over that, but much love to my viewers in Ukraine. There's actually a good number of you still, which warms my heart. I don't know how you guys get through it. The Nazis live in Ukraine. Yeah, they took over Ukraine. Ukraine helped them. Yeah, I am very well informed of, the Azov battalion. Yeah, there are a bunch of neo-Nazis there. Here goes the stream being monetized. But yes, that was bad. That was a small fraction of the millions and millions of people in Ukraine, and Russia's full of them too. So that is silly logic. Now, back in World War II, yeah, the Ukraines and the Holodomor, terrible stuff. one of their national heroes was definitely a German sympathizer and a pig. Some people liked him, others didn't. There's a history there, though. That's not stuff I don't know. What I know now is that was 80 years ago, and people want peace. They want to move forward, and Russia's tactics are killing and rape of civilians en masse. All right, moving on. So, let's see here. New species. Let's throw it up. Throwing it up. Yes, people aren't always their government. I 100% agree. I have nothing against most of the Russian people, most of the Ukrainian people, most of the American people that I stand with that disagree with me on things. Like, we can still all get along most of the time. We agree on more things than we disagree on. It's when we get caught up and get so tribal about everything that people get absolutely bonkers. All right, let's see here. Okay, let's hope that this shares as a PDF smoothly in StreamYard. Let's see. All right, let me see if we can get this to go any differently. Let's see here. Okay, I think we got it up, right? So here is the report, and right now, look at that beautiful fish. There are some really cool cyprinids that are just coming out of the woodwork in China, Southeast Asia, and all of that jazz. So you can go get this report. I've linked it on Discord and in the community tab. This is put together by Shoal. And so what this is it's kind of a summary of some of their favorite areas where new species were found. But let's read this little intro. I know you guys can't read it, so I'll read it to you. New species in 2024, that was last year, the fourth of Shoal's annual service reports. I've got all the other reports posted for free under the documents tab on the Discord, guys. The Discord link always expires. I'm sorry about that. I keep posting new ones. I'll try to get another one posted. If one of the mods could do it now, that would be great. Otherwise, I'll post a new Discord link soon. All right. Celebrates the wonder and discovery. It reminds us that there is still plenty of biodiversity in our planet yet to be described or discovered. An incredible 260 freshwater exclusive fish species were described in 2024. This is the most since Shoal started keeping track of these reports, highlighting the boundless diversity of life in aquatic ecosystems, from shimmering rivers to tranquil lakes and shadowy underground caves and cavern systems to fast-flowing streams. This year's discoveries again reveal the resilience, adaptability, and beauty of freshwater fish across the globe. So, among standout species that they wanted to point out are the Berlini blind eel that adapted to life in the mud, not in water. It is one of 3 fish in the world that doesn't live in the water. I mean, some people joke that everything is a fish, like taxonomically speaking, all tetrapods, anything with 4 main limbs, evolved from fish. But yeah, these are actual fish that nobody would argue are fish. Also, this killifish right here, this beauty, discovered a tiny temporary pool close to a tourist path near the stunning Iguazu Falls in Argentina. These are these mountaintop islands of stone that are like 1,000 feet or sometimes more, sometimes 1,000 meters, 3,000 feet up above the forest floor. And there's a little creek that's just from rainfall, that gathers and then falls off in waterfalls and streams from the center of these little watery worlds. Somehow that uplift, that continental uplift, or a bird or whatever it was, dropped things up there and they stayed in those little pools. Absolutely bonkers that they found this little fish up there. So cool. Also, two new paku species related to piranhas. Very cool. And they named one the Lord Sauron paku because it has a giant eye that looks like the eye of Sauron. Now, also they wanted to mention that out of everything that was done, this exploration of fish, Asia took 52.7% of exploration, and that partially that's because they're very, very active. South America, 32%, which is really impressive when you look at the land size. If they did Oceania, if they're counting Polynesia and Borneo and Indonesia as Oceania, 1.2. That's definitely not. That's maybe they're counting Philippines, or I don't know what they're counting there. That's interesting. But Taiwan, I know they discovered a whole lot of species this year. And this year right now, 2025, they just found 6 more species. Taiwan is just like full of these incredible bitterling fish and stuff that I'm like, how did they not find them? There's millions of people living on Taiwan on this little island. Africa, 10%. North America, just pathetic, 1.5%. And then Europe, 1.5%. Come on, get it together, guys. I guess we already named everything. Everyone's like, oh, I got to put my flag in it, name it. But then also the diminutive Priocherex conway, less than 11 millimeters long. That's a centimeter, making them among the tiniest freshwater fish in the world. A pedomorphic species that was discovered. This year's report also unveils exciting new genuses or genera. But perhaps the most intriguing discovery of 2024 was from the karst landscape, that's limestone rock, where the newly described Karstistenistics genus has emerged as a significant find. Comprising the Karstistenistics genus, there's Sahenagensis and Daxonensis and Karstistenistics longzauhanensis, and these are all cave fish that exemplify the incredible adaptations necessary to survive in lightless environments. That also they have heightened sensory abilities, like their lateral line, their odontodes and whiskers. Also, sensory organs are all heightened other than the eyes, and they have no pigment. They also published this year a new map that includes some of the species found last year. Maybe we'll do an episode on that. But they talk about how for over 1,200 miles, like something like 2,500 kilometers, there is a network of caves underneath China, Tibet, Laos, Vietnam, all the way down to kind of Thailand, and then all the way up to kind of a Beijing area, I guess, and the middle of Western China and Central China. And it's basically an aquifer and a bunch of caves. And the fish have been connected for 28 million years in some cases. And they're finding fish 1,000 miles apart that are just in a hole in the ground that they had no idea was connected. But they, finally dove down there and realized, like with a little remote controlled little submersible. Oh my goodness, this hole goes down 1,000 feet to this water layer in this aquifer or whatever, and meets up with these underground rivers. And now they have like over 40 species, with another, I think, 9 new species in the last year that have lived in this system of caves that spans this huge distance. And it's super, just incredibly fascinating. We'll have to talk about that as a channel soon. But cave diving is insanely difficult, insanely dangerous, and yeah. All right, so we're gonna look at a couple other little species. I like these guys. So here we go. Here is that little pedomorphic fish, super cute. They're the pedomorphic means that they have the traits of a juvenile fish, and that evolutionarily, basically their body and like the selection, survival of the fittest, whatever you want to call it, they realized that they have opportunities in their evolutionary niche to just never go through puberty and stay like they look as they're growing up or as a young fish. And those are usually epigenetic codes. And so it's interesting in that it becomes a whole new species, but it's almost like every species is two species hidden in one, also, because any species could just not go through its change, so to speak. Yet they do evolve a way to reproduce. So they still do go through puberty in that literal sense, but essentially they never go through the stage that gives them, the muscles and like the cartilage formation and all the things that you'd expect in like a larger tetra. You don't see here. It's like clear, mostly like collagen and a little bit of cartilage as their skeleton. And in other places, like they don't even have blood or capillaries or anything. And they keep it in these reflective organs doing all this work. Their swim bladder and their liver usually are reflective, which is really interesting. And then usually they go to the bathroom right below that kind of oblong bean shaped silver organ there. Look at this fish, totally clear. Easy to see how that would get missed, being a centimeter or a third of an inch fully grown. I mean, pretty cool though. But yeah, they have a reduced number of fin rays and vertebrae. They don't have any true bone. If you look at the fish skeleton, you'll see lots of tiny, in quotes, bones, pectoral and anal dorsal fins. But you were look at the skeleton of these species, you would struggle to see any trace of any pectoral fins, because it's entirely rayless. The development of these fin rays is usually a marker of the ends of a fish's larval stage, but not in the case of pedomorphic fish and this fish. Also, reduced ossification in the skull. So there's no bone over the skull. So just like human babies, when their heads start to harden, and they're soft when they're young and malleable, their skulls. Well, then that's how people in South America and North America would put they'd tie their babies to cradle boards, and they'd get these long cone heads, like literally they'd call them cone heads, like the SNL skit. And they could make these kind of alien looking skull deformations and still have the brain and everything work out just fine, which is pretty amazing. But in this case, they are malleable their entire life, and you can see their brain their entire life, which is great for studying and doing research. Danios, they've done this as well, and they've bred fish to do this on purpose. And so it's great that there's more out there other than the Danionellas that they use currently. So also they have a reduced laterosensory system. So the fish is quite literally have a sixth sense compared to other fish, which they use for sensing vibrations. The lateral line organ is often visible as a faint line of little pores and scales running along the flanks of the body, and the rate of development of these senses during the larval stage is highly variable between species. And this species, it never fully develops. However, they are able to use other sensory inputs to feel with their entire skin with nerves. Really interesting. Really interesting stuff. Also, this bloodworm eel, some really weird ones out there for sure. But look at this one. This is that oddball eel. fish that was named, it does not live in water. It lives in dirt. Very odd. And full length is around 10 centimeters or 3 inches. And it looks like a worm. Literally, these things were probably assumed to be worms. There's a lot of these around the world now. Look at this. There's one in Middle America. There's one in Middle America, one in South East Asia, one in South Asia, one in Western Australia, one in Papua New Guinea, one in West Africa, one in North America. And these are called troglomorphic fish because they are extremely adapted to dark or underground or underwater in the dark environments. Now, some of these fish that they found 2 years ago in India at a blind school of all places in the well, they dug a well and it burst into an underground cave, the well did. And in that cave, they were bringing up buckets of water for years. And it turned out one day there was a flood and it flooded that cavern or whatever. And all the fish came to the surface that were living in there, and they didn't even know there were fish in there. Thought it was crystal clear water. And at this boys' school in India for the blind, they started pulling up this same genus of blind cave fish, and those got up to a meter long in India. Pretty wild. Anyways, there's lots of information about these and how they evolved, and if the species is a true micro-endemic to the area it was found, or if it's in the whole system of these caves. They don't know yet. They've got a spotlight on researchers here. The 5th most prolific fish taxonomist in history is H-E-E, Dr. Hoki-ing. And they've got a little chat with him. I'll let you guys check that out if you want to. He has 5 genus that he has discovered. And yeah, pretty wild. A lot of Asian fish is what he's into. Also, you can see like these Sumatran oxbow lakes. I've talked about oxbow lakes, how they get cut off from river systems. Well, in Sumatra, Borneo, and Java, there are a lot in the wet islands there. And there's these lakes that form, and they get these weirdo fish that get trapped and evolve. Look at this beautiful Volturno-spined loach, or as its Latin is Zanandraei, and it's Cobitus zanandraei. Really cool. It's from Fondi Lake Basin and the Sarno Plain, which is cool. Here there's like a little picture here from the region, and central Italy is where this one was found, which is wild. But look at the color. It looks like a dojo loach somewhat. It's even got the flayed or forked rays on the dorsal, but the the caudal fin is like a nice yellowy orange color with some dots in lines. And then there's kind of a cool big dot to smaller dot to snakeskin to maze-like pattern, and then green, blue, gray, and more of this kind of highlight. It's very cool looking fish. And these were only 30 kilometers, less than 15 miles from the center of Rome, one of the biggest cities in the continent. Look at this. And it was living in these little streams. Hi, honey. What's going on? Do you need love? Does my kitty need love? Hold on, guys. We might need to take a little kitty break here. Just for some kitty love. Just to say hi. Hi, little kitty. We love you. You had fleas. We don't know how you got fleas, except for it was a warm streak. But I got her some Advantix and I took her to the vet and we got her fleas taken care of and we got her bladder infection taken care of. And they said she needs to drink more water and less out of the fish tank because she's a little scoundrel. And I say that she is a rat skull, not a rascal. She's a little rat skull. She closes her eyes like this. I love you. And I got to get a stool sample from her, as gross as that is. Yeah. The Loach is iconic in its Legend of Zelda games as well. That's right. Hey, Stephen P., good to see you. Fishberg, good to see you. Katie Flores, good to see you. Lots of cool fish out there. We'll look at the lot, some more of them too. They found like 12 loaches that look similar to that loach we just saw in Turkey. They found a lot more. They're not calling them loaches. They're calling them elongated catfish in South America, but they found a lot of those as well. Super, super cool. And a lot of people overlook them. They also found new candiru, or the fish known to go up the pee place and have wedged themselves in there. Not so best. Yes, my cat is very affectionate with me. She's a little crybaby. She's probably gonna try to get my attention now, and she's probably gonna start messing with the back of the computer at any moment and like unplugging things or walking on the keyboard. So let's try to finish this up before she gets a chance to get her little grubby paws on that. All right, so yeah, found right there. Beautiful area. I've been to this area of Italy. Very cool. And then spotlight on researchers. So these are more researchers. They mention the Alexander Koning Research Museum, the Bonn and Leibniz Freshwater Ecology and Inland Fisheries in Berlin, the German Center for Integrative Biodiversity Research, the Leipzig Museum. I mean, geez, you guys, how many freaking Germans are involved with fish? It blows my mind. But anyways, they do another profile on this guy, Jorg Freyhoff. And also this fish habitat's pretty awesome. Kitty, I know, honey. I know. It's dinner time. I know. It's 11 minutes past your dinner. I will get you dinner soon. But also, they found a new paradise fish, the Macropodus entropin. Wait, what is it? Erythropterus. Sorry, I couldn't read it. It was so small. The Macropodus erythropterus, a paradise fish that this guy Jorg discovered and described in central Vietnam. So they're finding new paradise fish even. Look at this beautiful blue paradise fish. So cool. Also in Africa, they found some new fish in this really cool up in what used to be former Lake Chad. So like the middle of the Sahara Desert, where there's like these lakes and also essentially oases that might have some of these very, very old species. Like we're talking, millions of years ago. If they could survive in a cave or something that's connected to one of these kind of places, we might have some new and interesting stuff still living there. Also, Paraguay and these pearl fish. Oh, so beautiful. Look at these different ones. There's a yellowfin variety. There's a striped variety up here with the orange eye that's real clear, and the blue fins. Then there's the yellow top fin with the green fins and the kind of yellow face. And then there's another one that's got bigger pectoral fins, a very tiny, weird little set of paired fins that I don't understand, like why that evolved. See this interesting little fin. It's like an adipose fin, but it's up forward. It's like an extra anal fin. Very, very weird. Or extra paired fin that there's only one. I don't know. I gotta find that out. But it's a little killifish. Eggs hatch at different times, and this is the one. One of these, anyways, is the one that was found at the top of the waterfall. This one here, the bottom of the bottom of the hiking area where the waterfall meets, and then the lowlands of Wazoo National Park. These are all found in different places. Will they end up being 3 different true species? We don't know, but I want some. That is for sure. Super cool. Also, here's another one of these little pearl fish that was found. So, when you get a team that goes out looking for just these specific fish, you end up finding some very interesting stuff. Also, new cories, pretty exciting. New catfish. There's some interesting kind of like jaguar striped ones that are neat. Found in this kind of river with full of, look at this, pure algae, just coated in algae. And then there's this guy here, which is cool, which is the Corydorus pilatus. Were found really close nearby, but I think these are the Hoplosoma Oswaldoi. Very cool. And then here we go, guys. Here's the Lord Sauron paku. So it has that eye like from Lord of the Rings. That's the idea, anyways. And they found this right in the Xingu River, where everyone's always looking for fish, where they're always collecting fish. And look at these beautiful new paku, or essentially piranha. Also, this is that cave fish thing I was talking about. This isn't the best graphic. I've got better graphics from the actual articles that came out this year. But look at this. All the way up in Chengdu and Shandong, and then Hangzhou, all the way down to Shenzhen and Kunming, and all the way to Hanoi. They're finding species, but the main cave is for sure one continuous thing right now in this red area. This is like 500 miles, but they're suspecting the cave actually goes all the way across these countries, and that there's passageways and things. They're finding through genetics incredible stuff. Some of these fish are well-formed, large fish that actually eat other fish, that eat insects, that eat invertebrates and snails and microcrustaceans and actual crustaceans, which is bonkers for a cave, because they almost always resort to eating little tiny stuff, algae, maybe some insects and plankton or whatever falls into a cave system. No, these actually there are enough fish in these cave systems that they can eat all of this stuff. Hello, little kitty, and hello, wife. And then check out this, the rainbow Macau fish. This is right out of China. These look like some fish found in Myanmar with some extra fins glued on, right? I mean, they look like a Daniel or something. And then their face looks like a North American, stone roller or something, with those the big old what do you call them? The denticles, those big old knobs or osteophytes on their face. They found a whole group of these guys. They're kind of like 5-6 inch long fish usually. Some of them are 3, some of them are 7 or 8, but they keep finding new ones in this kind of vibe that are like these river fish, and they're just really cool. I think this one's really beautiful. They're almost like shiners or dace in North America, the way that is. But there's 16 species known right now of these guys, which is cool, which is the Ophthalmichthes. And right now, one of the new ones is the iridescens, which that's a nice and easy Latin name, iridescens. Pretty cool, though. Again, they're finding fish in weird places, like in the middle of the desert. All of a sudden, ta-da, they find a new fish. They find a new fish. Doot, doot, doodaloo, doot, doodaloo, doot, doodaloo, doot. Yeah, so pretty fun. I'll probably go back and share more details of like some of my favorites with you guys because there are 260 species, if you didn't catch that when I was talking about it, of new fish. Absolutely incredible what we have found. So, yeah. Alex, give me a state of the union for the fish hobby. I do that. I do that every year. I do the fish to breed, and then I also do economic things, or basically human things that are gonna the state of the union for fish, which is the state of the hobby. A lot of times I'll call it like um, forecast 2024, 2025 forecast, and it's world events. First I do a fish, which fish I think will be popular and will be bred, and what trends will be in stores and retailers gaining popularity. Then I do one that's like the threat report, and that one is always like what I see coming, which countries are on the verge of going to war, if that impacts the hobby, if there's tariffs in the hobby, if there's certain species that are becoming endangered or over taxed, if there's new species that I think are going to be farmed out heavily, if there's some disease going around. Like in this year, there's the pearl gouramis and the moon gouramis. They all have this terrible disease. Dan's Fish is the only place that seems to not have this viral disease that's causing them, you know, all these problems. It's very wild. But yeah, so that does exist, and you can go check my track record. You can watch my forecast from 8 years ago. You can go watch, speaking of tariffs and how we've seen this before and like how it's going to affect like the dollar per gallon sale and stuff like that. Not here to judge whether that's good or bad, or if it'll bring jobs back, or if it'll crash things. I don't, whatever. That's for a different forum. But it probably will cause prices to go up about 25% if there's a 20% tariff. Logistics seem to scale up, and as I said, companies seem to sliver a little more out of it if they can, whether that's inflation or what. You know, all these prices go up, and all these companies take a little bit more. And not that you blame them in a free market or not a free market, really. It's a pretty controlled market for some things. But in the world out there, you know, you got to get what you can when you can, and you got to get your edge when you can in the way you can. And you know, the businesses are going to do that, especially when it's their legal obligation to make maximum profit once they're a corporation. Once they're a publicly listed corporation, something, you know, like a big company that's like Petco, PetSmart, Aquarium, stuff like that, you end up, it's all about that quarter. It's all about that year and making the profit for the stakeholders and for investors or for venture capitalists if it's small and private. And you got to make that show each quarter. You got to show that growth in the short term. A lot of times that costs the long term feasibility of things. So it's kind of interesting, and people don't think it's related to fish, and they think that I'm going off and being crazy and being some sort of, I've been accused of being an anarchist, a fascist, a communist, you know, everything under the sun. People don't know what I actually believe. But you can't pin me down. That's what I'm going to say. But in any case, I am a fan of history, of economics, of, you know, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes pretty closely, right? So go watch my video last time we had forums or tariffs and things put in place. See what I had to say about it. See what happened in the next 6 years and decide if you think what I have to say about what's going to happen next is true. Feel free. It's all up. It's all there. Nihilist. I believe in nothing, Stephen. Nothing. I am a capitalist. All those ists. Yeah, right. Isms, ists. You can't pin down Alex. Yeah, that's right. Just make sure not to tread on me. Yeah, that's right. Don't tread on me. I got my Gatson flag. Hi, kitty. No, do not climb up my leg that way. That is going to hurt. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Cat. Ah. You just walked up my bent leg like it was a tree. Thank you so much. That was so needed. USA. USA. I agree. Go USA. We need to be a country to be proud of. We need to make our own stuff, but we need to make it well, and we need to pay people properly. We have the money to do it. We need to get our priorities together and get it done. I'm done being political. I have my kitty. I don't need to be political anymore. I can love on my kitty. Love on my kitty. Love on my kitty. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a wonderful night. I want to thank all of y'all. Fishes, down with the atmosphere breathers. Yeah, that's right. Freshwater dreaming. I love that. Yeah. So nobody puts baby in a corner. Nobody puts kitty in a corner. But I hope you guys had fun looking at some of the new fish in the hobby and talking about bettas and some of the other stuff we went over. Also went over a little bit of nonsense too, and me almost killing myself with my truck the other day. But life's going pretty good, as chaotic as it is. Hopefully I'll get some new tanks set up a little faster. It's been kind of a pause where I'm just keeping my fish alive as it is, and sometimes they breed and this and that. But with plants, with fish, like I'd really like to get some new things set up soon and work with Moonlight specifically to get some of these new species that were just discovered and share them with you guys, I think that'll be fun. Also, I'd like to cover some more history of the hobby and things like how that you wouldn't expect, like how the jet engine changed the aquarium hobby forever. Like it made it so we could get tropical fish to our countries in the northern hemisphere overnight in good shape, very, very interesting. And you wouldn't think that World War II and the jet engine is what like necessitated all that or kicked that off, but it is, it's very wild. So I like looking at stuff like that and the cause and effect, the butterfly effect of it all. I'm going to let you go in a minute when I know you're not going to walk on the keyboard or climb up my leg with your claws again, you little brat. All right, you guys, have a good night. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you so much for the super chats, for the new members. Always, you guys, much love. No matter where you stand or sit or run on four legs or swim in the political spectrum or anything else, just be kind to each other. Take care of your critters. And we're all going to get through it. It'll be all right. Much love, and I'll be back later in the week, and I'll have an episode for you guys, most likely on Thursday. So take care. Namaste. Nama go. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Boo, 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 boo. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I would be